With Hugh Freeze seemingly on the hot seat, is Auburn going to lose recruits? Are they going to find a way to rally? What's going to happen with the Tigers?
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into a crossover edition of Locked On the Portal and Locked On Auburn. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Thank you for making each of Locked On Auburn and Locked On the Portal a part of your day each and every day. And we're going to be talking about a very unusual circumstance in the SEC. The Auburn Tigers are the most difficult team to figure out one way or the other. They've recruited well. They've spent a ton of money in the transfer portal. Yet everything they do, we can't figure out what's going to happen next because every time we think they're headed up, they head down and vice versa. So to help me try to unravel this, and try is probably the best word, Zach. I mean, we could start a GoFundMe for Zac Blackerby on Locked On Auburn for his future psychiatry bills, but there's a lot of problems with the Auburn football program. And
yes,
you and I both thought that when they hired Freeze, this was going to be a pretty good hire and things were going to go good. But I mean, we just talked about this off air. Just to put it in perspective, this is year 3 for Coach Freeze. He has 5 total SEC wins there. Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, but that's before Diego Pavia, Arkansas, and who were the other 2? Who am I missing?
Then last year they beat
A&M
and Kentucky.
So let's be clear. They haven't played LSU. Like the LSU series is not on, which I think sucks. But they haven't beat LSU.
He lost to LSU his first year, I believe.
Okay. So he hasn't been
coming off of a bye week.
Oh boy. 0-1 against LSU. He's so far 0-2 against Bama. Should have won the first year for sure. 0-2 against Georgia. Doesn't have a signature out of conference win. The best one. He did win at Baylor this year. That's not an easy place to play.
Sure.
But there seems to be an end of the tracks coming. And they didn't start off super hot this year in recruiting anyway. So there are a lot of moving parts here. So, Zach, I'm just going to let you tell me, do you think this is going to trend up or down? Because it's not like Auburn lacks money to get players, portal, like not even remotely. Like, where are they? I have a hard time putting a number on it.
Yeah, I mean, you asking specifically is going to trend up or down, I think is a bit of an unintentional, almost like a gotcha, because I think the answer has to be down, because one is like the obvious one, like, okay, let's assume they continue to lose football games and then they move on from Hugh Freeze. I think there's going to be fallout from that, right? There's some interesting caveats and variables on like the DJ Durkin factor and all of this if that were to happen. But let's say they do right the ship. I still have a hard time arguing it trends upward. Like let's say they beat Georgia. Brian, let's say they have an incredible one, or maybe it's close against Georgia and they beat Missouri and then they slip up again somewhere down the road. I still think you're in a spot where you're going to lose a lot of guys, both when it comes to their verbal commitments right now, as well as guys who are currently playing for you on both sides of the football. Now, there's variables for sure, but I have a hard time seeing, unless Auburn just really turns the corner, the offense starts clicking, and they figure out a lot of things, both with personnel and game plan and execution. I have a hard time seeing this just be like, this beautiful scene moving into the end of the season. I have a hard time seeing the steps of that happening.
Yay or nay, they end up with more than 7 wins. That's the number I get touchy with it. So it's
7.5 is the line according to FanDuel all off season, and that they took the win totals off their website going into this past weekend. But the odds for Auburn were the same going into last weekend at 7.5 still. Meaning the games that Auburn's lost so far, like Vegas and every other metric, didn't have them winning anyway. So that's what that tells me. I mean, let's go through this together. Georgia, probably not, right? They're at 3. So we got to find 4 here. Missouri at home, I think is a maybe. You're probably going to say no.
I would go Missouri's going to win. I like that program a lot.
Yeah. Be their first. I think it's their first time away from Jordan-Hare. I think it's a factor. How big of a factor? I mean, I don't know. At Arkansas, I think they win.
100%.
Kentucky at home, I think they win. At Vandy's tricky. Right now, I would say Vandy wins. They look pretty good against Bama. Not going to lie to you. And then Mercer at home. And then you host Alabama. So, like, you've got 3 that you feel good about. When you talk about Arkansas, Kentucky, and Mercer, can you get one against Missouri? Can you beat Vanderbilt and Nashville? Or can you beat Alabama? I mean, more than 7 seems tough. Like 8-4 at this point seems a little tricky. Not impossible, but you'd have to fix some things for sure.
I just think that schedule, it's typical Auburn schedule, which is ridiculous. But this year it's funny, like they don't play LSU anymore, so you should celebrate that. But then for the first time in its history, Vanderbilt is considered a playoff team. Like, it's just unbelievable.
And look, Vanderbilt's schedule is about to get a lot tougher.
Oh, it is. Do they have the depth to survive this? Because as you get beat up, your roster has to be able to sustain it. I doubt Vanderbilt does that very well.
Yeah.
Probably it can only make up for so much.
Yeah, I mean, they go to Texas the week before, which isn't.
Oh, that's a big football team. You're going to take some bumps and bruises there, win or lose.
Yeah, so they just lost to Bama. The rest of their schedule is LSU, Missouri, at Texas, and then they host Auburn. Like that's
I'll go ahead and call it now. I'm going to call Auburn with the upset there just because those 3 games before, that's ridiculous.
Auburn plays well in Nashville too, for what it's worth. So we'll see.
Yeah, I just have a feeling that Auburn's going to somehow surprise, and almost to the chagrin of Auburn fans, because as you and I talk about often off air, you want it definitive. Either get rid of the guy or he's winning. The in-between, you don't want to leave it up to the administration to keep a guy because they don't want to pay the buyout.
And right now, like there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of in-between. Like most of the time, it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when is the right time to move on from Hugh Freeze, which I'm not entirely there. I'm almost there, and I'm definitely more there now than I was right after the game, the A&M game. Like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like this is an absolute joke. Your players should be better coached, and there's just no preparation or plan. But like you got to give them a shot out of a. Like, you don't have to. I think you should. I'm kind of anti, and this is just a philosophical thing. Like I'm not for mid-season firings. I just don't really see the point unless you want to be first in like, interviewing folks and all of that. But I don't even know how much of like movement you really can make in that situation right now, especially if the guy you want is like in the hunt for a playoff spot. I don't really get the benefit of firing him right away unless you want to see what DJ Durkin looks like as an interim head coach.
That's part of it too. Like, I know he would be considered. He's pretty well liked, I think, by players, administration, from what I've gleaned. Having a try at it, I mean, and part of it, fair or not, is the Alabama game. Like if he went out there and they got beat 31-3, his chances are -5 million. That's just how that works.
Yeah, and the other side of it, though, I almost think is a bit of a negative, because if you do name him interim and he does beat Alabama, can you even really have a coaching search, or do you just give him the job?
If you don't give him the job after that, who in the heck are you hiring? That would be an interesting story. They're getting somebody you and I aren't talking about, because there is no Messiah that everybody's waiting for in college football. There isn't one. There's a lot of guys, like some of those guys are good, but like,
I mean, there's going to be a head coach that, brings a program that has a lot of resources and fan support back to prominence. That's going to happen. I mean, you see it consistently happening throughout the landscape of college football. I mean, it feels like we're towards the end of it, but like look at what Dabo did at Clemson. Like that's going to happen somewhere. Look at what's happening at Indiana. I mean, there are situations, and now some situations are easier to create than others, for sure. And Auburn's going to be a tougher one just because of where they are, geographically and all of that. But I do think with the access that whoever the head coach is at Auburn has, I mean, look at the roster they have right now. I mean, how many head coaches would love to have Hugh Freeze's roster right now?
Probably 90% of Division I.
Yeah. And I think there are coaches throughout college football that could do more with that roster. And that's where you got to start asking the question of, like, can Hugh Freeze win a championship at Auburn? Right now, it doesn't seem like it. I'm not counting the season out by any stretch of the imagination. And you've got a great opportunity. You've got a great opportunity this weekend against Georgia. If you beat Georgia, the issues from the last few weeks, it all goes away.
Last
for
question.
most of the fan base, not for everyone, but I think a lot of people would look past it.
Fair. How important is the Georgia game aesthetically, not only for the fan base, but for recruits? I wanted to go through all that to ask you that question because obviously I focus on recruiting in the portal. There got to be some guys on the roster thinking about Bolton if this doesn't turn around. That's just reality. But they're recruiting, well, it's not unbelievable. They got some pretty good recruits at the top of this class.
It's top heavy for sure. Yeah.
When you lose, man, it's harder to keep those kids. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, what you're promising and pitching would change, right? I mean, you've pitched future for so long, and now you've got to pitch something else. And I don't know.
What is it?
Is it, hey, Deuce Knight's going to be our guy and he's going to fix it? You'll play with Deuce? Is it, we're going to change offensive coordinators and get you in a good spot? And for the defensive guys, I think it makes sense. Like, DJ Durkin's putting guys in the league. I was about to get a lot of defensive guys drafted this year. There's some stuff there, but they're going to be negatively recruited. It's like, well, you're not going to win there. You're not going to win there. You got to win. You got to win. As far as and I haven't seen any lists that have come out yet. I'm expecting an impressive visitors list this weekend, and you and I will chat about that later in the week. I'm fairly confident of, but the optics of it for the kids that do go to the Auburn Georgia game this weekend, it's going to be at night. The atmosphere is going to be electric. And there's that Cam Newton guy that's getting his jersey retired. Like, if you're a recruit, you're going to have a blast, assuming Auburn just doesn't get blown out, right? I think the product for the recruit is going to be awesome. But that's never been the question. Jordan-Hare Stadium has never been the question. It's, do you have the right guy on the sidelines that can get you wins? And that won't be answered, I don't think, this weekend.
That's a very important one. Zach, I appreciate you coming in. Tell everybody where they can find your work.
Yes, Locked On Auburn, available wherever you get your podcast. Of course, wherever you find the portal, you can find Locked On Auburn.
This show is brought to you by Peloton, which is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is Training Reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach your peak performance. You're going to love how Peloton IQ offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your steps, suggests the right weights, and corrects your form. So let's begin your run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at One Peloton IQ. Joining me now is Luke Robinson, Locked On Bama. Luke, appreciate you joining the show here on Locked On the Portal. This crossover wouldn't be complete without the following question. Since you guys beat Vandy, is the fan base starting to get behind DeBoer? Obviously, a rough start to the season with the first loss, but where does Alabama's fan base stand, and where do you think it goes next?
I think most people are behind him. I think after Florida State, there was a weird vibe. I was at that game. It was awful. The no juice on the sidelines. I've said that over and over again. And I felt like, oh, gosh, that's the first time I really had lost faith in DeBoer. I mean, at least questioned my faith. I didn't lose it. But then, and in fact, I had made the comment that I thought, hey, maybe we need to do something like a quarterback change to like spark this team. I didn't blame Ty Simpson. for the FSU loss. I thought he played fine. I thought it was a lot of other factors that were the issue. And however, I think a quarterback change sometimes can spark a team to do something, well, turns out they created their own spark. Ty Simpson created his own spark. He was 17 of 17 there shortly thereafter. And he looked fantastic. Now he's throwing darts all over the place. Still one of the more efficient, if not the most efficient quarterback in the country. They go on to beat Georgia. I'll tell you, there were some tense moments after the first quarter of Vanderbilt. We had given up 113 yards rushing. We had missed a field goal, which always gives us the jitters. And we had also had our first turnover of the year. So everybody's like, what exactly is this? And is this what we're going to be forever with Kalen DeBoer, like up and down, up and down? And then we fought back. And the defense, which was pretty terrible in the first quarter, was fantastic from that point on. They created some turnovers. They did some really nice things. They give up 0 yards rushing in the fourth and only 7 yards rushing in the third quarter. And I think things like that help people get back to buying in. He's following the greatest to ever do it. So it's going to be tough to win some folks over, just like it had been tough for anybody who followed in the Bear era to have their new coach win them over. But I'm a DeBoer guy, and I loved the hire. Yeah, I've had my moments where I'm like, is this going to work? But the recruiting is going gangbusters still. He got a commitment from a top 27 guy and another 26 guy that is very highly touted, and Jared Dowdy, that everybody was looking at here recently. He had really shot up the charts. So, and he went out and got him. And recruiting, said Morgan just said today, he's shutting down his recruitment. That is a big one. I'm telling you, I'm from his hometown. That guy is the real deal. And so a lot of positive energy coming out. Now we go to Missouri. Let's see if we can keep it rolling. I'm going to be out there, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think that's a really big question, and I'll get into that in a second. But you already started to answer my second question. What do you think of recruiting, and is it what you expected? Again, the Saban was really good at recruiting too. I don't think he liked it, but he did it. Like there's certain parts of that it didn't fit his personality, but he made it work. Are they where they need to be, or is there still parts of this class, which is by all measurements top 8, top 5 in the country anyway? Is there anything left in that class that you want to see before it signs?
I always want to see more defensive linemen. I mean, I think you're looking at this year when yesterday, for instance, Saturday, we were without James Smith for a half because of a bogus targeting call from the previous game. And we also were down Jeremiah Beeman. We're down Quay Russaw. We're down Jamarian Latham. Now, I know those guys are more linebacker types, but we need some good interior linemen. London Simmons has been playing great for us here recently. And I just think that's the one area that Alabama has slipped in recruiting. So I would love to get some more defensive linemen in this class. But, and the class is probably top 7, top 8 when you look at the overall picture. But a lot of that is because of numbers. Alabama's numbers aren't as high as some of the ones that are at number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, et cetera. But their average player rating is up there amongst the best in the country. It's still a fantastic class. And they seem to be making a lot of good inroads with 27 kids too. So I'm really happy with where recruiting is right now.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good class. And I wondered if you were going to say D-line, because that's what I would have said too. Yeah. The one thing that I've noticed about Bama this year, they can't rush the passer very well, which is, this is a really down year. For anybody that's an NFL draft fan, you're not going to like the DNs going into the draft. And usually one of them's a Bama guy. I thought Quay might be that guy, but like a bunch of guys just haven't hit. And it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But they need one more. They've got a couple of pass rushers in the class. I think Bama needs one more. And you can never have enough defensive tackles. Luke, I could not agree with you more on that. Let's talk a little bit about the Missouri game, because I think Missouri is the most slept-on team in the country. Mm-hmm. They don't get any fanfare. Good defense. They actually do have a pass rusher in David Wilson, who they stole from Georgia. Mm-hmm. And they've got a quarterback that had never played much at Penn State, and Bo Prapula. It's pretty good. They got a good running back. Do you think Bama is now going to roll, or do you think that's going to be a scratch and claw kind of game up in Columbia?
I think it's scratch and claw. I think Missouri is going to get their rushing yards. Hardy is just he's a beast. He's a beast. He's really something to watch. Now, Missouri has not played, what I would consider it to be, a Herculean schedule. I mean, they have not played a ton of folks just yet. However, you still can't discount exactly what they've done, and they've looked pretty doggone good doing it. And Damon Wilson, I think I saw a stat where he has more pressures this year than all of Georgia's defensive line put together this year, which is nuts. So yeah, he's going to be a thing, and we're going to have to block him. And Alabama gave up a lot of pressure with Florida State, as you know, and that affected the game definitely. So maybe this offensive line, which again, another place that created its own spark and has played much better since Florida State, maybe the offensive line has really gelled and will do a lot better. I mean, I still think Alabama's got a definite talent advantage. I love that it's 11 o'clock. I love 11 o'clock road games because it feels like the crowd may be a little sleepy still, and maybe that will help Alabama. But, you look around the SEC, there ain't a ton of folks winning on the road in this league right now.
No.
And if they are, it's tight. I mean, it's Tennessee in overtime against a Starkville team that we know they have more talent than.
That's not even close. But You're right. They could have easily lost. I watched that game. That was a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
They could have lost that sucker. So winning in the SEC in general is hard. Winning in Columbia, they don't get Bama very often. This game for them is a Super Bowl. How important do you think it is for Alabama to get off to a really good start? And do you think that's going to dictate the game? Because I get the impression that Ty Simpson, nothing really phases him anymore, but we're talking about a team. Football is a team sport. So what do you think about the first part of the game?
Yeah, I think Ty has gone from somebody we worried about with maybe some anxiety to he's just as cool as a cucumber back there. I mean, he was facing some pressure from Vanderbilt guys, and he made some fantastic moves to set up and throw some darts in the pocket. But I think you're right. I would love to see Alabama get the ball first. I wanted Alabama to get the ball first against Vandy, and we did because Vandy won the toss and deferred. And then we make this great drive, and we have fourth and less than a yard, and we try something fancy instead of just running up the middle with Jam Miller like we know we could have gotten a yard. And it sort of flipped the game on its head a little bit. I want Alabama to get the ball first against Missouri, too. I want to play from the front. It's tough, so tough in this league to play from behind, especially if you're going to play a team like Missouri that's got this guy, this wildebeest back there you just hand the ball to, and he's good for 5 yards every time, if not 75. So you want to put Missouri in a position to have to pass more than hand off more.
I 100% agree. I also think this is a recruiting implications game. It's going to get more attention than its start time deserved. I mean, I think this should have been a 7:30 game. This will be, I know next weekend, the slate in general is just freaking loaded. I think this will be as good a game as there is in college football next weekend. I'm in the same boat you are, Luke. This will be 27, 23, 24, 21, something like that kind of score. I think it's going to be great. And I think this kind of game, especially for Missouri, which I'm sure they'll bring every kid they can within a 300-mile radius.
Yeah.
But Bama can get back on that train again. Hey, this is what you're joining. We beat Vandy. We're beating Missouri, which I think they've got a legit chance to go to the playoff. If you beat those two back-to-back, that's got to help you. So,
it's funny because you look down the stretch and any other year you'd say, okay, Alabama's got Vandy and Missouri, and then they had Tennessee at home, but at South Carolina, and then an off week, you'd be like, man, that's a good 4-game stretch. It is an awful stretch for Alabama. This is very, very difficult. So how many teams in the country would go undefeated against this stretch? And, Alabama's already knocked one of them off. So one down, but you go from a Vandy team that was your bugaboo last year, like they just had sort of a mind grip on you for a little bit. Then you play a Missouri team that's got, again, the best running back in the league, I think by a long shot, and they're playing really well and they're undefeated. Then you play a Tennessee team that throws it all over the yard with Frisbee catching dogs. And then you play a South Carolina team. Well, yeah, they've lost 2 games. They might have some more losses before we get to them, but they've got who most people think will be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft at quarterback. That always makes it tough.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But Bama, if you win those, you talk about being able to sell recruiting.
Oh,
that'll be. Yeah. I mean, that's free money right there, brother. That's free money.
So as Mike Dubose, you say, it's a challenge and an opportunity or whatever. I don't even remember what he said. It doesn't matter. I don't like him anyway.
He didn't do very well.
No.
I remember him. Luke, tell everybody where they can find your work, my friend.
Go check us out, Locked On Bama, anywhere you get your podcasts and on YouTube. We'd love to have you over there.
Appreciate it, sir.
Hey, appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, buddy.
Today's show is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots also run on Square. There are certain businesses that make each and every neighborhood the neighborhood. There are the places that become an extension of your home, whether it's the sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town on game day, or that beloved local chain that's been rooted for in your community for years. These businesses are what bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood also thrives. So for me, when I travel, I like to go to a lot of different coffee shops when I'm going to see recruits, going to see games, whether I'm in Tallahassee, Orlando, Atlanta, or anywhere else. And I always try to go to local places, and Square is a big part of that. Whenever you tap your debit or credit card, there's a good chance it's a Square reader down below. Square is a proud partner of over 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/Lockdown College to learn more. You'll be happy that you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. We are also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Whenever you want to go out and look at a game, it could be halftime score, player prop, parlay, or just the traditional money line, you have an opportunity with FanDuel. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and to get started. This last segment, I wanted to discuss something that is very important, getting ahead in recruiting. Football is one with players more than it is with coaching. Certain sports, you can navigate it through the manager or the head coach a little bit easier. But football is really about talent more often than not. And one way to get ahead is underclassmen recruiting. To that point, Texas A&M hosted Mississippi State this past Saturday. They had a star-studded list of recruits, and among them, several players from the class of 2027 that are special. Everybody needs to get involved with recruits at an early stage in today's college football world, especially at the top. Texas A&M is certainly not playing around. Here are a few examples. At a Randall High School on the west side of Houston, Landon Williams-Callis, one of the most dynamic players in the country, and he's a class of 27 prospect, as are all of the players I'm about to mention, and he's so explosive, it's ridiculous. As a freshman, he ran for over 1,900 yards, playing against quality competition, and he helped his team win the 5A state championship as a sophomore, and he's well on his way to having another masterful year this season. Texas, LSU, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, you name it, they've all offered this kid early. There's a reason he's that good. A&M getting him on campus is big. Would not be surprised if he ended up there based on the scuttlebutt. Also, all the way down from the state of Indiana, wide receiver Monson Sales, 6'4", 6'5", 210 pounds. He's got massive hands. He's got speed. This is the kind of receiver that right now A&M doesn't have. He's the big-bodied boundary receiver that can beat you deep, and you can play him out wide at flanker too. Doesn't make any difference. He's a mismatch, both physically, just being strong, and being a speed guy. Not many players are like him. He'll be able to pick his school. He's another kid like Landon Williams-Callis that's a 5-star. Anthony Sweeney, speaking of going national, he's one of the top defensive ends in the class of 27. He's from Good Counsel High School on the edge of D.C. If you're recruiting all the way out there in your Texas A&M, you know you're putting in the work. This is another top 50 kind of player in the nation. And if you look at it from a perspective of A&M's recent history at defensive line is really good anyway, this is a good start for them. And it doesn't stop there. Zyron Forstall, he's originally from New Orleans. He just transferred to IMG Academy down in Bradenton, Florida. I had a chance to see him in Under Armour's Futures 50 this summer. Tremendous athlete. He's got explosive first step. He's got length. He's got power. He's a national recruited defensive end as well. Titus Hawk, he's a kid out of Oklahoma. He's the long, lean kid that's still filling out his frame. He's one of the top tight ends in the class of 2027, 6'7", 210. He was also on campus. Ismail Kamara, a kid out of Gilmer, Texas, who is massive. He's roughly 350 pounds. He's been one of A&M's top targets. He was on campus. Ala Wasamir or Ala Babaloa, 6'6", 300 pounds out of St. Peter's Prep. Another kid back east in New Jersey. Top offensive lineman. He was another kid I had a chance to see at the Future 50 event in Bradenton. He's got all the upside in the world. Really good kid, really easy going. But when he puts the hands on you, it's trouble. Very strong, got great length. He's got one of the longest wingspans I've ever seen. Jake Hildebrand, 6'5", 290 pounds out of Basha High School in Chandler, Arizona, just outside of Phoenix. Another national recruit. He could end up on one of the powers in the Midwest. Maybe it's USC, maybe it's Texas A&M, another national recruit. Regardless of which kid I looked at on their list, and I narrowed this down, A&M's list for this past weekend was tremendous, and it's national. From Arizona to New Jersey, Florida kids from Louisiana, Oklahoma, Indiana, they're not messing around. If you want to win big time in high school football recruiting, you got to look at things from a national perspective, and that's something A&M has done. Congrats to Mike Elko and his staff, because this class is very good that they're working on right now. And the way they're building their class of 2027 prospect list is so good, it's kind of hard to see them not finishing somewhere in the top 10 again next year. Thank you once again for making the Portal Podcast a part of your day each and every day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. We will see you again soon.